Welcome to Echoes of History, where the past is not forgotten, it lingers, waiting to be heard. In today's story, we step onto a rain-soaked battlefield in 1815, where empires stood on the edge of collapse, and one man, once unstoppable, faced the moment that would define his legacy forever. This is the story of power, timing, and the single mistake that destroyed Napoleon Bonaparte at Waterloo. June 18th, 1815, a field in Belgium, known as Waterloo. Here, one man would gamble everything, his empire, his legacy, his destiny. The battlefield had already begun to change. Long before the first shot was fired, through the night, relentless rain soaked the ground, turning solid earth into thick, unyielding mud. Cannons sank into the earth. Wheels refused to turn. Men strained against a battlefield that seemed to resist them. What appeared to be a minor inconvenience was quietly reshaping everything. Morning arrived slowly, under a sky still heavy with moisture and silence. Napoleon made his decision. He would wait. The ground needed time to dry. His artillery, his greatest advantage, had to be mobile, precise, unstoppable. So the attack was delayed. Across the field, Wellington remained still, composed, ready, and with every passing moment, the balance of time began to shift. Beyond the battlefield, another force was already in motion. The Prussians, marching with urgency, closing the distance step by step. Their arrival would change everything. Napoleon understood the danger. He knew the risk of delay. Every hour mattered. Every moment narrowed his advantage. By late morning, the waiting ended. The battlefield erupted. Cannons roared, tearing through the air. Infantry advanced through smoke and fire. Cavalry charges shook the ground beneath them. Napoleon struck with force and precision, again and again. Yet across the field, Wellington's lines held firm. At Hougoumont, the battle turned savage. Flames consumed the farmhouse as soldiers fought at close range. Desperate, relentless, unyielding, hours passed. The cost rose higher and higher, and still no decisive breakthrough came. Then, in the distance, a new sound emerged. Not thunder, marching. The Prussians had arrived. The battlefield shifted in an instant. Napoleon now faced two armies, one before him, and another pressing in from the flank. The space to maneuver disappeared. The pressure began to close in. In this moment, everything narrowed to a single reality. Time had been lost. The delay, those critical hours in the morning, had allowed this moment to exist. The soaked battlefield, the delayed attack, the steady advance of an unseen enemy, each piece connected, each moment built upon the last, until the outcome was no longer his to control. With the battle slipping away, Napoleon made one final move. He committed the Imperial Guard, his most elite soldiers, his final reserve. They advanced with discipline and certainty. They had never failed him. For a brief moment, the outcome hung in the balance. Then, the line faltered, the guard began to fall back, and in that instant, everything changed. What followed was not an organized retreat. It was collapse. Order dissolved into confusion. Control gave way to chaos. An army unraveling under the weight of a single day. Napoleon Bonaparte, the man who once dominated Europe, who commanded victories across continents, now stood at the end of it all, defeated, not over years, but within hours. His downfall was not caused by weakness, nor by a lack of skill. It came from a single decision, made in a moment of calculation, a decision to delay. At Waterloo, time became the one force he could not overcome. History does not always turn on power, or even brilliance, but on moments, small, fragile moments, where a single decision changes everything, and those moments echo far beyond their time. Thank you for watching Echoes of History. If you want to uncover more stories where a single moment shaped the world, subscribe and listen closely, because history is still speaking.